Believe it or not, Hawaii was once the dream vacation for many Americans. Now it faces its worst tourism crisis in many decades with empty beaches. Hotels have rooms with no guests and souvenir shops are closing for good. This is not only Hawaii's story but shows the bigger U.S. tourism decline. Local people lost jobs and families who worked in tourism are now struggling. Even American tourists are careful with money and avoid expensive paradise trips. Why has Hawaii, the symbol of American tourism, fallen into such a crisis? What does this mean for the future of U.S. tourism in general? Waikiki's streets are now quiet and empty, looking unreal but very real. In June 2024, about 900,000 tourists visited Hawaii, but still 2% less. On Maui, nearly a year after the Lahaina wildfire, arrivals dropped 20%. These numbers may look small, but the economic damage for Hawaii is massive. Each empty hotel room means fewer meals cooked and bills that go unpaid. Restaurants that once needed reservations now sit half-empty and very quiet. Surfboards gather dust and many shops now hang signs saying, "For lease." Wildfires destroyed large areas and airfare prices are extremely expensive right now. Flying to Hawaii can sometimes cost more than vacations in Mexico or Caribbean. Stories also spread of native Hawaiians asking tourists not to come anymore. Many American families feared visiting Hawaii would feel disrespectful, so canceled. This created a chain reaction of canceled bookings and collapsing businesses. Hawaii was once sold as endless paradise, but now that paradise feels empty. If Hawaii cannot keep visitors, what happens to smaller U.S. tourist towns? The bigger issue is anger among locals who now say, "Tourists go home." Why? Because the cost of living has exploded beyond control for many. Gas, milk, and rent prices are so high locals can barely survive anymore. Many houses became Airbnbs, turning family homes into vacation villas for outsiders. Locals are forced to leave while their homeland turns into a tourist playground. For some Hawaiians, the aloha spirit feels fake and empty in daily life. They no longer see themselves as hosts but as servants in their homeland. Tourism was supposed to bring prosperity, instead it is pushing locals away. Rental prices have risen, families lost homes, and wildfires increased frustration greatly. Las Vegas once faced the same story, and Hawaii is now repeating it. Another major issue is the high vacation cost for families visiting Hawaii. Hotels cost $400 a night plus extra resort fees that shock visitors. Parking costs $50 daily and a simple burger can cost $25 easily. A family trip may cost $6,000, equal to months of truck payments. For many families, the choice is simple: buy a truck or vacation. Tourists also compare Mexico, Caribbean, and Bali, which offer cheaper paradise trips. Why pay more in Hawaii only to feel overcharged and unwelcome today? This is why Hawaii and Las Vegas are losing middle-class visitors. The super rich alone cannot save Hawaii's struggling economy in the future. Summer 2024 should have been strong but was Hawaii's slowest season in years. Japan and Canada, Hawaii's biggest international markets, are still very hesitant. Even Australians are pulling back after hearing about U.S. immigration detentions. Hawaii now suffers twice: fewer international tourists and a lost friendly image. Small shops, restaurants, and family businesses are suffering the most each day. Domestic U.S. visitors cannot replace the money from international travelers easily. Strict U.S. border policies and harsh politics are rarely mentioned in reports. Instead, media shows happy Americans while ignoring international tourists leaving quietly. Some say Hawaii now cares more about money than its people, sadly. What was once paradise is now seen as overpriced, political, and struggling. And starting October 1st, new $50 visa fees will hurt Hawaii. The world's paradise is now struggling to survive in the tourism industry. Before COVID-19, Hawaii's beaches were always full of international tourists. Since then, bringing them back has been very difficult for the local economy. Now the new visa fee has become another big obstacle to recovery. A tourist from China shared his concern about traveling to the United States. Traveling to the US is already difficult and filled with many different restrictions. With this new fee, many people will think twice before booking their tickets. That statement is very true and shows the growing challenges of tourism recovery. Hawaii is already expensive with the TAT tax and very high living costs. With an extra $250 visa fee, will tourists still spend their money? The government says the fee will stop visitors from overstaying their visas. It will also bring billions of dollars to the U.S. Immigration Agency. But many worry this change will slow down Hawaii's fragile recovery process. Experts warn that Hawaii depends strongly on international tourists for its survival. Visitors from China, India, and the Philippines are very important for Hawaii. If Hawaii relies only on American tourists, it will lose diversity and energy. Asian travelers today have many other options that are much easier to visit. Thailand, Bali, and the Maldives are cheaper and easier for Asian travelers. Hawaii is slowly losing its advantage in the competitive tourism industry. Even the Japanese market has not recovered as strongly as expected. Summer, usually the busiest season, has become quiet and very disappointing. Hawaii, once seen as paradise, is now standing at a crossroads. It can open its arms to international tourists again and recover. Or it can become a destination only for the privileged few visitors. What do you think about this situation and its possible consequences? Will this $250 fee damage Hawaii's already struggling tourism industry? Hawaii now faces two very different paths with serious consequences. One path brings more tourists and more money for the economy. But that means more environmental damage and locals pushed out of homes. The other path brings fewer tourists but more respect for culture. No matter which path is chosen, there will be winners and losers. The government is testing new measures to handle these challenges. Visitor fees for conservation and stricter rules on Airbnb rentals are included. Eco-tourism programs are also being promoted by officials and leaders. The idea sounds fair because paradise must be protected carefully. If you want to enjoy paradise, you must pay a small fee. But how many people are willing to pay $50 or $100 more? Some new visitors are wealthy and happy to spend extra money. They enjoy farm-to-table meals and learning about Hawaiian local history. But they are a small group compared to mass tourists before. The old model of large hotels and mass tours is collapsing. Hotels have many empty rooms and fewer bookings this season. Flights are cancelled and revenues are falling across the islands. Workers in the resort industry are losing their stable jobs. Activists call this a reset, but workers call it bankruptcy. A bartender in Waikiki once lived well from busy nights. Now, with fewer tourists, his work hours have been cut. He drives Uber during the day and cares for his children. For him, sustainability sounds nice but does not pay bills. The government promotes eco-tourism like a miracle solution for Hawaii. But often it is only another way to charge visitors more. You pay for smaller tours and organic meals during your stay. Then you tell friends you traveled responsibly and cared about culture. But local workers still struggle every day to survive financially. So who is sustainability really designed to benefit and serve? The environment, the wealthy tourists, or the struggling local communities? Las Vegas also raised hotel taxes and parking fees recently. They said it was for sustainable development and local improvement. The result was clear because workers' wallets became much emptier. So this question is not only for Hawaii but America. Are we ready to accept sustainable tourism if jobs disappear? Or will we go back to mass tourism and destroy paradise? If Hawaii fails, what will that say about America? This is no longer only Hawaii's story but America's mirror. The economy is built on spending, borrowing, and endless hope. When tourists come, hotels are full and budgets grow quickly. But when tourists stop, the machine immediately breaks down. It is like an old car with a leaking gas tank. Hawaii depends on tourists just like America depends on credit. Borrow now, pay later, and hope tomorrow becomes better. But when families must choose between vacations and tuition, dreams break. If Hawaii cannot attract tourists, what can the middle class keep? A home, a retirement plan, or one last family trip? For many, the American dream looks like an empty shopping cart. You want everything, but you simply cannot afford it. Hawaii is a larger version, beautiful outside but hollow inside. Some fear a darker scenario for Hawaii's tourism industry. What if tourism does not fall 2% or 20% but 50%? If half the tourists disappear, Hawaii's budget will collapse quickly. Schools, hospitals, and roads all depend on tourist money daily. Without it, public services will suffer almost immediately. But in that loss, some opportunity may also appear. Fewer planes mean coral reefs can slowly recover again. Beaches will be cleaner and villages may regain old rhythms. Indigenous families could buy back homes from Airbnb investors. Culture, language, and traditions might finally return to locals. Heaven may return to its people after decades of struggle. American tourists will still find other paradises nearby. Mexico, the Caribbean, Florida, and California also offer sunshine. Why fly 6 hours to Hawaii just to see Walmart? This is not fiction or fantasy at all. Government meetings and activist groups already discuss a greener Hawaii. But that also means less money and fewer jobs. The Hawaii Tourism Authority has launched the Maku Maui campaign. They are investing $7.5 million in nonprofits and communities. The goal is to attract visitors while supporting local culture. Festivals, volunteer programs, and cultural events are part. It sends a strong message that Hawaii will not give up. Hawaii was once the perfect postcard with blue seas. Now locals hold signs telling tourists to go home. The cost of a vacation equals the cost of a truck. This story is about more than tourism alone. It is a test of the American economy itself. So now I ask you directly today. Would you still spend thousands of dollars visiting Hawaii? Or would you save money for your practical needs? Do you believe sustainable tourism is a real solution? Or do you think it is only another label? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read many of them and your stories matter. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe. Every subscription encourages me to continue real analysis. This video is for information and analysis only. All opinions are based on public data and views. You are free to share your own honest perspective.